Hi boys and girls, today we're going to be working with finding patterns. And we're going to be working with patterns in numbers, but I want to show you how easy it can be. We are very used to finding patterns in shapes. We used to do this for calendar, and I'm sure you guys did it when you were younger. So we're going to start off by looking for patterns in shape, and then we're going to move on to numbers to try to find those number patterns. So to get started, let's take a look at my board here. We're going to look at the first line up at the top, and as you can see, I've started a pattern and we're going to work together to finish it. So my first shape is what? Circle. Good. Say the pattern with me. Circle, triangle, circle, triangle. If I were to find the next two shapes, what would they be? Well, as I'm looking at my pattern, I can see that before each triangle comes a circle. So my next shape is going to be a circle. And after my circles comes a triangle. Good. So I got to draw my triangle in that last spot there. Let's take a look down here at my second pattern. I have a square, square, star. Square, square. What comes next? Star. You got it. See how easy this can be? Now on my last pattern here, it looks like I have a missing shape, and I have to find out, based on the rest of my pattern, what is going to go in this missing spot. So heart, blank, heart, smiley, heart, smiley, heart. So based on the other parts of my pattern over here, I know that in between each heart is going to be a smiley face. So just by observing my other shapes and their patterns, I can find my missing pattern. So that was easy. Let's move on to something a little bit harder. Right now I would like you to get out your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 blast off sheet that I have, just like this one. And today we're going to be working with these rocket ships to find the number patterns to skip count. So we're going to be working with this one first, and we're going to be starting at the bottom and working our way up. So our first pattern here, 20, blank, blank, 35, 40, 45. So by looking at the bottom down here, I don't see a pattern just yet. But if I guide myself to the last part of my pattern, I want to find what is the difference between each one of these numbers to find the skip counting pattern. So let's start with this number right here. From 35 to 40, what number do they have to count to get from 35 to 40? 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. So I had to count up 5 more to get to 30. So 35 plus 5 equals 40. Now how did they get from 40 to 45? Let's find out and see if this pattern is continuing. 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. 5 more. So 35 plus 5 equals 40. 40 plus 5 equals 45. I think that my pattern is going to be adding plus 5. So let's start down here at our bottom and try to see if this is going to be fitting. I'm starting with 20. I need to add 5 if I'm going to continue my pattern. If I start at 20 and I add 5, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Let's continue. 25, what am I adding again? 5. Plus 5, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Now if I start at 30 and I add that same 5 like my pattern is showing, will I get to 35? 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Yeah, I did. So my pattern here is adding 5. So underneath our rocket ship down here, I want you to write the pattern add, so A, D, D, 5. Now we're going to be working by adding and subtracting. And so to remind ourselves that we are adding in this rocket ship, I want to start at the bottom and do this with me. I'm going to draw a line up. That's going to remind me that we started at the bottom and worked our way up. All right, let's do another one. So we start at 10, our second rocket ship here. We have a blank, then we have a 14, then we have a blank, oof, then we have 18 and 20. So the only way that I'm going to be able to find this pattern is to look at the two numbers that are together and figure out how did they get from one number to the next number. So since at the top I see that these two numbers are together, I'm going to find their difference. If I have 18, what do I need to add to get to 20? Right. 18, 19, 20. So I'm adding 2. So put that little arrow, put plus 2. So I'm going to hope that this is the pattern, and I'm going to test it first. If I start at 10 and I add 2, I will get 10, 11, 12. Okay. If I have 12 and I add 2, hopefully I can get to 14. 12, 13, 14. Did I reach that number? Yeah, so I'm hoping that this is the pattern. Let's try it out. Are you ready? When we started at 10, what did we add? Excellent. And we said that 10 plus 2 equals 12. Put that in our empty box here. Now when we added 2 to get to 12, we're going to try to follow that same pattern. What is 12 plus 2? 12 plus 2 is 14. Sweet. So now we're at 14. What do I need to add? Excellent. 14 plus 2. 14, 15, 16. Put that in your empty box. Now, I'm at 16. What do I add to 16? Our pattern says to add 2, so let's add 2. 16 plus 2 equals 18. And we already found out if we add 2 to 18, we'll get 20. So just by looking at this pattern, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, it sounds like I'm skip counting by 2s. So our pattern here in this rocket ship is to what? Right, we are adding 2. Go ahead and write add, A, D, D, 2. That's our pattern for our second rocket ship. Let's go ahead and draw an arrow up to let us know that we started from the bottom and counted up. All right, let's do our next rocket ship over here. At the bottom, you will see that we have started our rocket ship down here at the bottom, 22, 32, 42, blank, blank, blank. So I'm going to be looking at the bottom numbers here, and I'm going to be deciding how do I get from one number to the next. And then we're going to try to continue that pattern to fill in our blanks. What I'm noticing right away is that my ones place is staying the same. So I know that I'm not going to be adding any ones. But what I noticed is that my tens place is changing. 2, 3, 4. So I'm adding 1 10 each time. 2 10s plus 1 10 equals 3 10s. 3 10s plus 1 10 equals 4 10s. So my pattern here right away I can see is adding 1 10. So to get from 22 to 32, we're going to draw a little caret here. Oopsie. And you're going to plus 10. Just like that. 22 plus 10 equals 32. Now to get from 32 to 42, I'm going to, again, add 10. So draw your little arrow, plus 10, and let's continue. 32 plus 10 equals 42. Again, I'm going to add that same 10, just like my pattern says. So draw a little caret, plus 10. Now is where I'm going to be filling in my blanks. Are you ready? 42 plus 10 equals 52. Good. I'm just adding that tens place right here. So I'm at 52. What is my pattern? Adding 10. So 52 plus 10. Count your tens place. 2, 3, 4, 5. What comes after 5? 6. Very good. And my ones place stays the same. 62. And to find our very last number up here at the top, what's my pattern? Adding 10. Very good. 62 plus 10 will give us 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 72. Excellent. So again, our pattern, each time we were adding 10. So I'm going to write my pattern down here at the bottom. Add 10. And we want to start from the bottom of the rocket ship, and we are working our way up. All right. The next 3 rocket ships I'm going to have you do on your own, and then you're going to come back and check. For the 4th rocket ship, I want you to draw an arrow down. I want you to start at the top of our rocket ship and go down in our pattern to find our missing number. So on this side of your rocket ship, draw an arrow and put the down button. And don't forget to write your rule at the bottom. Our 5th rocket ship, we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. So draw an arrow from the bottom to the top of your rocket ship. And don't forget to write the rule. And our last rocket ship here, I want you to be starting at the top and working your way down. And don't forget to write the rule. For our last rocket ship, it's a little bit difficult because we are working with really high numbers, but I'll give you a hint. Think of quarters. 25, 50, 75, $1. When you're done, come back and check your answers with me. How did you do? Let's check our answers. All right, our 4th rocket ship right here, you are to be working your way down. And so if I started at the top and I tried to figure out what the pattern was to get to 12, I noticed that right away from 15 to 12, I have to subtract 3. 15, 14, 13, 12. So to get from 15 to 12, I minused 3. Let's continue that pattern. 12 minus 3, 12, 11, 10, 9. I got my answer 9. 9 minus 3 equals 6. Very good. 6 minus 3 equals 3. Excellent. 3 minus 3 equals 0. Great job. So our pattern here, or our rule, was to minus 3. If you just wrote subtract 3, it's the same thing. All right, let's move on to our next rocket ship. Remember this rocket ship, you were working, let me fix this here. You were working your way up the rocket ship. So our numbers are going to be getting bigger. Now, what you had was 85, 65, and 55. So to get from 55 to 65, I would have noticed that my tens place was going up. So my ones place should be staying the same. If I start at 50 or 5 tens, how many tens would I have to add to get to 6 tens? Right, 1 10. So 55 plus 10 would give me 65. 65 plus 10 would give me 75. 75 plus 10 would give me 85. And 85 plus 10 would give me 95. Now I still had to fill in my number down here, so I know that if the pattern is going up by 10, If I were to go down 10, I would get 45. So 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, 95. My pattern is to add 10. And our very last rocket ship over here, remember I said this was a little bit more difficult, but to think about counting by quarters. We are starting at the top and working our way down. $1, 75 cents, 50 cents, 25 cents, 0 cents. So if it's hard for you to be able to count down by 25s, you could have reversed the pattern and worked your way up by 25 to find your missing numbers. But as I'm looking right now and my pattern is going down, I know that I should be subtracting. So if I started with $1 and I subtracted 25 cents, I would be at 75. If I had 75 cents and I subtracted 25 cents, I would have 50 cents. If I had 50 cents and I subtracted 25 cents, I would have 25 cents left. And if I was at 25 cents and I took away that 25 cents, I would be at 0. So if we were starting at the top and working our way backwards, I know that my number is getting smaller, so I'm going to be subtracting. And how much am I subtracting each time? 25 cents.